You are listening to Jambo Radio. You can now download the Jambo Radio mobile app on your smartphone from the App Store, Google Store, or Play Store. You can now use our Jambo Radio app on your smart mobile phone or device to contact us and also send us your song request. Now it's time for our weekly magazine show, the BB African Magazine.
Welcome everybody. Hello. It's Phoebe. We are back. We have an amazing show planned for you today. We have all your usual music, politics, history, and all of that. However, we're going to kick off the show with something quite special, and that's a tribute. But before we do that, remember you can join us at any time. Just call the number 0141 530 2787. That's 0141 530 2787, and you can join us. Just call in. Your opinions, your questions, anything on your mind, just call in and we can have a discussion. If you're on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any other social media, you know what to do. The three magic words are Jambo, Radio and Scotland, and you will find us. Send a message, leave a comment. We'll read it live on air if you're too shy to pick up the phone and call. You can also join us and download the app, or the Jambo Radio app, or you can join us if you're in Glasgow or Edinburgh. We're on DAB, so just find Jambo Radio Scotland and you'll find us on DAB. So we are going to be playing Onyeka Onwenu songs the entire show. So just get ready for your ears to have a feast this morning. We are going to tribute her. We're going to have a wonderful tribute to the lady, and we're going to play her songs the entire show. So it's going to be quite a treat for us. We might have lost her in body, we have not lost her in spirit, in talent, and in legacy. So it's going to be a fantastic tribute for her today, and tribute in her music the entire show. So are you ready to go? Let's do this. Before we start the show, we're going to kick off, of course, with a song, and it's going to be an Onyeka song, and one of her most popular songs that we all love and enjoy, and this is Ekwe. This is by Onyeka Onwenu. Enjoy this. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
ya biko webo ya. Osu kosu wambi ya biko subo ya. Onyi femne wiwe ya biko webo ya. Osu kosu wambi ya biko subo ya. Selense.
Beautiful, very nostalgic Ikwe by Onyeka Onwenu. This came out in the 80s, and we're going to talk about this at the end of the tribute. But before we do that, before we show our tribute video, our tribute reel, we're going to tribute the lady directly. So let's talk about Onyeka, the amazing Onyeka Onwenu. Onyeka Onwenu, the singer, actor, broadcaster, and activist whose love ballads and songs about women's rights were a soothing balm to generations of Nigerians and earned her the nickname Elegant Stallion, has died at 72. She had just finished a performance at a private party on Tuesday night in Lagos when the singer became ill. Hours later, she died at a nearby hospital, having suffered a heart attack, according to local reports. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu was among those paying tribute to Onwenu and said she lives on in her immortal masterpieces. The singer is best known for the 80s anthem One Love. Another of her hits, You and I, was repurposed for the 1999 movie Conspiracy, which she also starred in and is widely regarded as one of the most iconic soundtracks of Nollywood, the world's second largest film production industry. She was born in Obosi, Anambra, in January 1952 to Dixon Onwenu, a politician, and Hope Onwenu, who was also a singer. However, she was raised in Port Harcourt, River State. She completed her education in the U.S. at Wesley College, Massachusetts, and the New School in New York. Upon her return to Nigeria, she launched her pop career while simultaneously working as a broadcaster in the state-run NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. While there, she wrote and narrated Nigeria, A Squandering of Riches, a 1984 collaborative documentary between the BBC and NTA about corruption in the oil-rich country. A contemporary of the Juju maestro King Sunny Ade, they recorded the popular 1989 duet Choices about consent and birth control, a stunningly bold move in the still conservative country. Another of her peers was the legend musician activist Fela Anikulapo Kuti. And when he was arrested 6 years later by the military government of the day, Onwenu pushed for his release. In My Father's Daughter, her 2021 memoir, she revealed that after his release, Fela asked her to marry him, a request she emphatically turned down, although with good humor. I told him I was a jealous lover and would not be able to cope as an appendage to his harem, she wrote. Fela was, of course, famously married to 27 women. Onwenu released 4 albums before switching to become a gospel singer in the 90s and was awarded with national honors by Nigeria in 2003 and 2011. It's said that her self-assuredness as a confident woman was routinely misinterpreted as arrogance. Ed Kaiser, a historian and lawyer who knew Onwenu for more than 2 decades and represented her in the mid-90s, said, "People often described her as being something of a tough nut, but I'll say this, she was even harder on herself. She pushed herself hard and expected the same from others." Onwenu kept a very private personal life, but is survived by 2 sons from a marriage in '84, which she said she left because she was constantly depressed. "I raised my children alone, from kindergarten to master's degree," she once told the press. The best known example of her tenacity was a 3-day hunger strike at the premises of her former employer, the NTA, in July 2000. She was protesting being barred after complaining that the national channel was playing her music but not paying her thousands of dollars in royalties it owed her. In her later years, she became a politician and had a 3-year stint as the head of the National Centre for Women Development before focusing on the arts again. The British-Nigerian filmmaker B. Bandele cast her as a mother to Odenigo, the husband of Alana, in the 2013 adaptation of Chimamanda Adichie's novel Half of a Yellow Sun. And 5 years later, she also starred in Lionheart, Nigeria's first Netflix original, alongside Nkema War, her co-star in Conspiracy. This tribute about her life and her achievements, both personally and professionally, do not even scratch the surface of who this woman was. But what we're going to do, we're going to come back and talk about her. But before we do that, my amazing producer Baron has put together a tribute reel for Onyeka. I haven't seen it. So we're going to play it now, and we're going to come back and talk about the woman and her impact. Let's go.
Whoa. Don't be sad, understand. Everybody has a day when the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. A little more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. One love keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive.
That was really good, Baron. I thought you were going to add some like videos and movies of her dancing. She was a great dancer. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, what? Yeah,
It was beautiful. Well, just seeing her gorgeous face is beautiful. I was talking to you earlier, and I asked you earlier during the week when we talked about doing the tribute, and I said, what was her impact on you? But I think you kind of like escaped those 80s days, didn't you?
Yes, I did. However, a song was a lot on the radio, so I could remember this one.
Yeah,
Was
One Love, and
yeah.
I mean Iyo Gogo in the 90s, like in the early 90s and late 80s was when you probably would have heard about her. We are like talking late 80s, so we're aging ourselves here. But I remember her. To me, Onyeka was a constant, just a constant. She's always existed as me being alive. Onyeka has existed, so my childhood, my teens, my 20s, my 30s. I'm only 30, so so she's always existed, and she's always been this larger than life figure, elegant, well-spoken, sophisticated, but traditional at the same time. Just this fantastic combination of a woman. As kids, at break time we would like dance to her songs. We had like certain dances that went with certain songs, like Ekwe, for example. There are certain dances we would do to it on playground. I don't think kids dance at playtime anymore these days. Don't do the different dances. I think kids just talk about games or something. The primary school kids, what they do during break time, we would dance during break time all the time, and we had different dances for her. What I remember seeing her on telly and just thinking, wow, just taking it for granted that this person was so elegant, so well spoken, so incredible. I just took it for granted. Yes, Onyeka, that's Onyeka. She's that person. So we had people who were like, regular folk. We had pop stars. We had, juju musicians, Igbo musicians, all kinds of musicians and people in the public sphere. And then there was Onyeka, completely different, completely unique in her own way. She had a presence. She had that voice. She was completely sophisticated. And I love the fact that she grew up in Port Harcourt and went to school in America, came back to Nigeria after going to university in America, and could speak Igbo as perfectly, as flawlessly as you could imagine. So she didn't say, her parents were like, she's being raised in Port Harcourt, but she's not going to learn to speak her language. Not only did she speak her language, she used her language in her arts. Mm-hmm. She was an icon of her language and her culture. She was proudly Igbo in her music, in her ways, in everything she did. And yet, she would switch and speak the clearest, most beautiful, most sophisticated English you could ever imagine. It was like, just wonderful. The people who are leaving us, these people, that caliber of folk, legends who are leaving us, are we replacing them? Are they being replaced? What do you think, Baron?
So obviously, music is changing. I wouldn't. There's no replacement for these people. So it's just
Whew.
a different set of people coming.
It's the same. I hear the same is happening in the States. Like, all the R&B singers and the soul singers, most of them came up in the church, right? So they learned the basics of the music in the church, how to do runs, how to use your voice, how to go up, come down, add the spiritualness into it and still keep it pop. And when they changed pop music, they had those bones, that training.
Yeah.
But now, a lot of the R&B singers who are coming up don't have that training on the ground, training. So who's replacing these legends who are going when the Gladys Knights go and the Patti LaBelle's go, and when they leave, who's replacing them, But let's come back to Onyeka. So for me, Onyeka will always be the ideal example of the Nigerian woman, like the Nigerian woman who is strong, who is elegant, who is sophisticated, educated, but still versed in her culture and tradition, who comes into a room and you can just feel the energy, the X factor, that unnameable factor about the person, who when they speak, you listen. You cannot help yourself. Even the timbre of her voice, just the timbre of her voice, the tone of it was something that made you want to listen to. When her speaking voice is just as beautiful as her singing voice, And we're going to just lavish you guys today with all the most popular songs of hers. We're going to lavish. We're not going to take our time. We're not going to rush. We're going to play all the songs you guys know and love, and we're going to have a great time today. And to think, Baron, did you know that she performed the night before she died?
Yeah,
she performed and she was in great form. She wasn't like phoning it in and just doing the usual. She was alive. She was full of energy. She was going to the party attendees, going from seat to seat, grabbing them up to come dance, and she was the celebrant going to serenade her. She went up the steps. She came down the steps. She was in fine form, doing what she loved best. And then an hour later, she was gone. So I've heard people say that's, if you want to go, that's the way to go, doing what you do best. But I don't think for her children, I think they would have preferred to have their mom be able to talk to them and say goodbye and, and spend time with her and all of that. I'm sure they're happy for a life well lived. But for me, I'm happy she did what she did best a few hours before she went. But if I was her kid, I would be devastated. I would have wanted to spend that time with my mother. Yeah. There's so much about the woman. We could spend the entire half hour talking about her, but what we're going to do is going to drop in. If anybody has any memories or has anything to add, you want to talk about Onyeka, please feel free to phone in throughout the show. Don't worry about what topic we're talking about. Throughout the show, just come on in, say what you want to say, add what you want to add, and make your comments about her, your memories about her. The number is 0141 530 2787, or just leave a comment on the Facebook page and we'll read it out. One more time, the number is 0141 530 2787. To wrap up this tribute, which was not even close to being enough to honor the woman, here is One Love, the one and only One Love that everybody in Nigeria was singing at some point worldwide, round the continent, round the world. This is the song of Onyeka's career, One Love. Enjoy.
Everybody has a day when the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. A little more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle just staying alive. One love, keep us together.
for Onyeka Onwenu. Like I said, we're going to be lavishing you with Onyeka Onwenu songs the entire show. But now we're going to move on from Nigeria to Algeria and via Paris. We're going to be talking about one of the hottest topics of last week and just a snapshot of where we are right now as humanity, because this is interesting. So I'm going to talk about what happened, and then we're going to come back and talk about the reaction to what happened. So we're talking about, of course, we're talking about Imani Khalif and the Olympic boxing controversy. So let's hear what happened yesterday anyway. So Imani Khalif, the boxer at the center of the gender eligibility storm at the Paris Olympics, wrote her name on the floor of the ring on Saturday and burst into tears after securing an Olympic medal. Algeria's Imani Khalif was overwhelmed with emotion and repeatedly slammed the floor of the ring with her hands, having beaten the Hungarian fighter Luca Anna Hamori convincingly in the quarterfinal. After the fight, Hamori congratulated her opponent and wished her luck for the remainder of the competition. And when she was asked about the controversy, she said, "I don't care." The 25-year-old Khalif is now guaranteed Algeria's first boxing medal since 2000 after winning the 3-round bout 5-0 by unanimous decision. And she faces Thailand's Jiang Gem in the semifinals tomorrow. Khalif and the Chinese Taipei fighter Lin Yuteng have come under intense scrutiny, to say the least, at these games. Both fighters competed without incident last Olympics at Tokyo 2020, but were disqualified from last year's World Championships at a late stage by the International Boxing Association, IBA, for failing to meet its gender eligibility criteria. Well, the IOC, that's the International Olympic Committee, has cast doubts on the tests taken, calling the disqualifications arbitrary, while the IOC President Thomas Bach has said the boxers had been subjected to hate speech. In Paris on Saturday, Khalif entered the ring to deafening cheers from a large Algerian contingent. She dominated the fight, but afterwards was in tears as she walked past a scrum of international journalists. Yassin Arab, the sport manager of the Algerian Olympic Committee, said Khalif had not had her phone with her in the last 24 hours in a bid to shield her. "This controversy is a joke," he said. "Everybody knows Imani was born a girl. She fought all her time as a girl, and all the competitions she was a girl. When she was losing, nobody talked about this." Before the fight, the father of Imani said her criticism of her was immoral and not fair. He told Reuters, "Having such a daughter is an honor because she's a champion. She honored me, and I encourage her, and I hope she'll get the medal in Paris. Imani is a little girl that has loved sport since she was 6 years old." However, the 25-year-old's previous bout before Saturday's lasted just 46 seconds. After taking a punch to the face inside 30 seconds, her opponent, Angela Carini of Italy, went to the corner for her coach to fix her headgear. And after briefly resuming, she returned to her corner once more and stopped the fight. Just before Khalif's arm was raised by the referee, Carini could be heard on camera saying, "It's not right." She was in tears in the ring as she faced the media after the bout. She said, "I wasn't able to finish. I felt a strong pain to my nose, and I said to myself, I don't have the maturity that this woman has. I just said, I hope my nation won't take it badly. I hope my dad won't take it badly. But I had to stop for myself. Okay, I had to preserve my life at that moment." Khalif will meet the Thai fighter tomorrow, and the semi-final will be on Tuesday. But even if she loses, Khalif will leave the games with a bronze medal. Khalif and Taiwan's Liu Yingting have been strongly backed amid tense debate by the IOC, who run the boxing competitions. And the IOC President Thomas Bach said earlier yesterday that there was never any doubt that the pair are women. Okay, the IOC criticized the IBA for changing its gender roles in the middle of the 2023 World Championship. It said it's happy for both fighters to compete under the less strict gender eligibility rules that they have at the Olympic Committee, and they stopped blanket sex testing in 1999. Okay, prior to the fight on Saturday, Bach said, "We're not talking about the transgender issue here. This is a woman taking part in a woman's category." Meanwhile, Italy's Carini has apologized to Khalif for not shaking her hand after the fight. "All this controversy makes me sad," Carini told Italian paper Gazzetta. "I'm so sorry for my opponent too. If the IOC said she can fight, I respect that decision. Karini, also 25, said abandoning the fight had been a mature step to take, but she expressed regret about not shaking the hand of Khalifa afterwards. It wasn't something I intended to do, Karini said. Actually, I want to apologize to her and everyone else. I was so angry because my Olympics had gone up in smoke. She added that if she met Khalifa again, she would embrace her. Okay. Right, so there are many moving parts to this. Have you been following this, Baron?
Yes, I have.
Many moving parts. Give me your first opinion first before I give my opinion. What do you think?
So first, in sports, certain people have advantages. So whether it's a bigger lung capacity for those that are swimming, or sprint speed for those that are playing football. Some people are faster than others. Yeah. However, this is much more than a contact sport. It's actually like a combat sport. So yeah, it's quite subjective as well. Yes, if she's a woman competing in women's sports, that's fine. There's no issue with that. And then she might have certain advantages which their sports body have noticed and then decided to exploit for her to compete as well. So I honestly, I don't see any problem with it.
Okay. I mean, for me, certain girls have naturally higher testosterone. Okay, she's not transgender, so the way it was presented in the prima facie was that she was transgender, she was a man beating up a woman, and woman is crying, and they put the picture of the woman crying all over the world. And before the truth, what does Charlemagne the God say? The truth doesn't have time to wear his shoes. By the time the truth wears its shoes, the lie has gone around the world twice. Okay, so everyone was attacking her. All the right-wing pundits were calling her every name in the world, called her a man. Even after it was proven she wasn't a man, they were still calling her male, a man. Insults flying left, right, and center. It's woke, it's this, until someone gets killed. The reaction was just disgusting. Nobody took the time to even check first before posting. Sorry, go ahead, Baron. So,
because initially I saw it on Twitter first, and I was like, really, did they actually let like a trans woman fight in the boxing? Then actually had to wait and see for more information come out.
Because you're a reasonable person, and apparently that's a rare character, rare trait these days. Because when I saw it, they almost got me, because the first picture I saw was man beats woman, and I was like, what? I thought the Olympic Committee had said that we no trans people, this year. There'll be no trans people this Olympics. Then they're going to ban trans, people who are born male from fighting female and from engaging in women's sports. That had been settled months ago. Like some of the swimmers who were transgender had been told they weren't going to swim in this Olympics. Some of the cyclists and all of that had been settled. So I was like, I thought that had been settled. Why are we talking about this? Like, why they allow a man? And so common sense, when something doesn't seem right, you wait and you do your research. I thought, come on, let me look more into this. Come to find out, she's just a girl who has more boyish traits, who has more testosterone. Do you know how she started boxing? You're not going to believe this, Baron. No. She was in her village. She's from a village, by the way, in Algeria. Where are they doing trans in a village in Algeria to start with? Where?
I think it's probably I'm sure it must be illegal there.
Very, very illegal. So she was a boy. She was a boyish kind of girl, kind of like some boy. Yeah. Strong. And she started playing football, trying to play football with the boys, and she was doing very well. So the boys started bullying her, beating her, knocking her down and all that. So she had to learn to dodge their their attacks and all that. She found out she was actually quite good at bobbing and weaving, because she had to fight boys. Boys thought she was a girl coming to steal their sport, and now girls think she's a boy coming to steal their sport.
And even with all this out, people are still on
the insults.
Initial thing. I
said,
she's
insults.
A man fighting a woman too.
So she was actually trying to escape the boys and fight the boys. And she now realized she was a good fighter. So she now told her dad, and her dad was like, "No, girls don't box." Her dad was like, "Girls do not box, so I can't support you." Can you imagine how was so he refused to pay for her boxing lessons, and her boxing lessons were like in a town 10 kilometers from her village. So she had to sell scrap metal that she found around, go look for scrap metal, sell that to get bus fare to go to do her lessons. This is how much this girl has struggled to enter this sport. Then her dad, when she started doing well, her dad now, decided to support her. But in the beginning, he was like, no, girls don't fight. So she's had the whole, as a girl, you can't do this. And she's had to struggle and prove herself and all of that, gone through all of that. And then she gets to, the world said, now they're saying, you're a boy, you can't do this. And she's like, I can't even imagine what was going on with her for those 24, 48 hours what she'd been through. Because I'm sure before they took her phone, she had seen one or two things.
Yeah,
and I'm sure this is not the first time she's been told she's boyish. And her entire life, she's known she's boyish. It wasn't news to her, So for someone who has struggled with all of that, can you imagine to be a girl, to know you're a bit tomboyish, you look stronger, you've gone through all the insults already based on that, you've struggled and you're succeeding now and you want to represent women of your country, and then to go through all this on the international stage. I mean, shame on all those people who just dug in. And to me, it's bad enough those who made those horrible comments about her and posts about her before they had the information. But for me, the worst people are the people who got the information and doubled down, refused to change their stance, refused to understand, refused to give her any grace, and kept on insulting her. And J.K. Rowling, I have been with J.K. Rowling this entire time, and she's all for women's rights and she's for women's safe spaces, and I really respected her right to have that opinion. People have come for her over the years, and she's a transphobe and all that. I thought, no, she's for women and all that. But after J.K. Rowling found out she was a woman and still kept on doubling down, I think I'm going to have to get off the J.K. Rowling train. I think she has another agenda, because if she's meant to be protecting women, why would you double down and give another woman grief? Or is it just a woman it has to be a woman that appears the way we want her to appear? Like, we're judging appearances now?
Yeah.
Because there are women who present, I know people in my life who present very, very feminine and have the elevated testosterone. You won't believe that. So they're super feminine presenting, but when you check their blood, their testosterone is much higher than the average woman. And you can see it in different ways, like maybe they're a bit hairy on the neck, on the legs, on the face and all that. And then the other women who present very masculine, but that's just how God made them. If you're born into this world as a woman, who is anybody to say you must have, the Coke bottle, you must have the hips. Some people, not everybody is the same. There's going to be difference, aberrations in nature, deviations in nature. That's just how it is. Some people are going to be ultra feminine, some people are going to be ultra masculine, some people are going to be in the middle. Most of us are in the middle,
Yeah.
How can we judge based on looks, I remember, I don't know if you know, in Akwa Ibom, the football team in Akwa Ibom, I've seen those girls, okay? I'm not picking a fight with any of those girls. No way. They're girls. They are girls. They're women. But you take a look at them, I'm like, girl, whatever you want, you can have it. I am not picking a fight. I'm not fighting with you, I'm not. But nobody's going to tell them they're not women. They look very, very boyish. Strong, very strong looking.
Yeah.
But they're girls, To me, this controversy speaks more about us on social media, what we've allowed ourselves to do to ourselves. We have no decency. The most of us have no decency. Because of that anonymity, we just talk and talk and talk. And then those who have platforms, who are not anonymous, are known, but they want to, the engagement, negative or positive, is good for them.
Yeah.
They too fell into that trap as well. It's really, really, really sad the way we reacted to this poor girl.
Then so far, I've not seen anyone come out and then apologize for
Logan Paul. But if his apology was not even an apology. Oh, oops. I must have, maybe I spread misinformation. However, I still think that if she's, those are the kind of apologies I was saying. Oh, maybe I didn't, but I still think nobody said, oh, Imani, really sorry about, what you've gone through. Wish you the best of luck, da-da-da-da-da. If her father supports her and says she's a girl, everybody else shut up. Because an Algerian dad, first of all, doesn't even want his daughter fighting. So if her dad has accepted that his daughter is a bit more boyish than other girls and she wants to fight and he's supporting her, who the heck are we, the rest of all of us? IOC has said it's okay, they've tested her. Her passport, she grew up as a girl, she's a sister to other sisters. What are we going to do now? Take her into a back room and then check her to see whether or not. She said she's a girl and she's not transgender. She wasn't a boy who became a girl. She was born a girl. Done. She has fought many women. Look at two Irish women have brushed her. Two Irish women have, at the last Olympics, dealt with her very seriously. Those are women, and they beat her. She was not going around punching everyone in the face and just destroying women left, right, and center. And then we were like, oh no, she's a man. She has lost many times to women.
So she was even in the last Olympics. How? So
yeah,
why?
Thank you.
Why is
because
this
she
just
didn't
coming
win.
up now? Yeah.
Because she didn't win then, so we didn't have anything to say, and we were not in the middle of this trans craziness that we've whipped ourselves into in the last 3 years. Nobody noticed because she wasn't a champion. Now that she's a champion, oh no, she's a boy. How about all the women who have beat her? Angela, protect your chin. Angela did not protect her chin. Angela, next time duck, okay? Angela was like, whoa, I've never been hit so hard.
Okay. Welcome to pro sports.
Welcome to pro sports. It's the Olympics. You will get... You people should stop. Can we stop? Can we stop? Michael Phelps goes like that. He spreads out and he is longer across the way than he is down the way. Mm-hmm. He is wider than he is long. Is that not an advantage?
It's an advantage.
His feet are the size of, I don't know, my laptop. Is that not an advantage when he's going like that in the water and he's swimming like he's a fish, basically? He's basically a fish. They should ban him. It's an advantage. Simone Biles is 4'8" and she can leap up 12 feet into the air.
Yeah.
That's not normal, okay? That's not normal. She should be banned. Right? Unfair advantage. She's gotten all the gold, everything you can imagine. Of course, her hard work comes into play, but she's naturally gifted. Who else are we talking about?
I mean, we might as well ban those that in boxing that have longer arms than
that can
opponents.
reach.
So
You're saying both legs are super long. What about what's his name? Wamba. What's his name? the basketball player. He's almost 8 foot tall. He needs to be banned as well, okay? Because he can basically touch the rim at this point. So what do we do? It's elite sport. It's the Olympics. It's the best of the best. If you have an advantage, use it. They did the same thing to Caster. Remember Caster Semenya from South Africa, winning all her races, and they did not let this girl enjoy her victory for 1 minute.
Yeah, I remember
all the dainty little, you know who? Oh no, she won. All those African runners, they look like men. They're beating us. Okay, run faster, try harder. Okay, people have advantages, and then they work hard, and then they win. It's elite sport. Deal with it. I'm pro Imani, okay? Angela, I was against Angela at first because I thought she didn't shake her hands. That was very bad form, and she was crying. I was like, oh, for God's sake, once you start crying on the international stage, people are going to be like, oh no, this delicate little woman is crying, and this big man is beating her. And I was like, Angela shouldn't have done that. But now I realize she was just crying and upset because her Olympic dream had been destroyed, and she had to stop it. So, and she did apologize for not shaking her hands, and she said if she meets her, she'll shake her hand. So, Imani, hold the head up, girl. She has the bronze already. She's fighting again, I think, tomorrow, if I'm not wrong. And she has a shot at the gold. And Algeria is really behind her. I love when the country comes behind the person. That's great. I'm really happy about that. So Algeria is behind you. We're behind you. Don't mind all those weirdos online who are bullying you. And J.K. Rowling, shame on you. Go, Imani. Go, go, go. If you have anything to say about this, join us. Give your opinion. If you think I'm wrong, if you think Baron is wrong, if you think she's a man or whatever, 0141-530-282787, that's the number, or leave your comment on Facebook and we'll read it out and we will hear from you, okay? In the meantime, here is the song Bianulu, of course, Bianulu by Onyeka Owenu. Enjoy.
Onye kele ụwa bịa n'ụlọ ọnụ anyị Olisebuluwa bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo na bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo na bianulonu anyo onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo okimi na-atụ gị egwu tinye obi gị na Chukwu Chukwu bụ ya nwe ndụ ga-abụ onye nche gị okimi na-atụ gị egwu ma belu Chukwu nna ga-anụlụ onye kele ụwa ga-anụlụ gị onye nwe m ga-anụlụ Olisebuluwa bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo Olisebuluwa bianulonu anyo bianulu Chukwu bi n'igwe bianulonu anyo onye nwe m bianulu Olisebuluwa bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo bianulonu anyo nna bianulonu anyo onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akali ike Chukwu nna bianulu onye kele ụwa bianulonu anyo
That was Bianulu by Onyeka Onwenu, and like I said, we're going to be playing Onyeka songs the entire show. Okay. Whew, this particular topic we are going to really talk about because I don't know what's going on. Same old story, nothing changes. But let's find out. Let's see if we can maybe find out why. So the topic right now we're talking about is about Chidinma Additional Onwe. Beautiful young lady, South African young lady of Nigerian descent on one side. And she is a finalist in Miss South Africa. And apparently, when the news broke that she was a finalist, not Miss South Africa, a finalist, all hell broke loose. Let's hear the story and then we talk about it. Is that okay, Baron? You good with that?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. So law student Chidinma Additional has clinched a coveted spot as a Miss South Africa's finalist. However, her triumph has unleashed a vicious backlash, unearthing a seam of xenophobia that lies close to the surface for some in South Africa. The 23-year-old's name hints at her connection to Nigeria, but internet detectives wanted to know more and combed through every inch of her life. They found out that her father is Nigerian, and though her mother is South African, her family had come from neighboring Mozambique. On behalf of South Africans, we don't recognize her and that name. She better start packing and go home, raged one commenter on X. So where is she from? Miss Additional is South African, as verified by the organizers of the pageant. She has said in interviews that she was born in Soweto, the township next to Johannesburg, and grew up in Cape Town. However, the go home quote unquote sentiment and even harsher attacks flooded social media. There's also a petition demanding her removal from the high profile televised competition that amassed more than 14,000 signatures before it was taken down. The country's culture minister, Gaten McKenzie, the leader of the Patriotic Alliance Party, which has joined a coalition government and made migration issues a key part of its platform, chimed in. He said, "We truly cannot have a Nigerian compete in our Miss South Africa competition, but I want to get all the facts before I comment because it gives funny vibes already." The issue has touched a nerve in South Africa that goes beyond who will appear on stage at the final next weekend. Ms. Adesina told the Sowetan Live news site that the online hate she was facing made her think twice about competing. "I'm representing a country, but I don't feel the love from the people I'm representing," she said. Ms. Adesina added that the whole situation felt like black on black hate, highlighting a particular strain of xenophobia in South Africa known as Afrophobia, which targets other Africans. She felt that she was not the only contestant among the last 16 women with a name that had origins from beyond this country's shores. There are some with South Asian names, European names, yet she was receiving the bulk of the criticism. This is not the first time that this has happened. For Melissa Naimuli, a Miss South Africa contestant last year, it has brought up difficult memories. The 28-year-old was a target of the same vitriol heaped on Miss Adesina because her father is Ugandan. Miss Adesina, she says she was not surprised by the reaction she'd received, as she had experienced it for most of her life. It's something I try to run away from, she says, but how do you run away from yourself? Miss Naimuli said that while growing up, she would constantly speak Xhosa, her mother tongue, and one of South Africa's official languages to prove, quote unquote, her South Africanness. Her voice, she admitted that she felt shame at her Ugandan identity when she was younger because of the Afrophobia she experienced. "I don't like to be seen with my father because he was darker skinned and his East African features were a dead giveaway. At home, my father was my hero, but outside, I saw him treated as the enemy." University of Free State sociologist Dr. Nombolelo Shange links this hostility to South Africa's history of racism and the apartheid system, which imposed an hierarchy that privileged white people. "There's a sad apartheid mentality we're struggling to shake as a country," she said. "It shows a deep self-hate that we as black South Africans carry with us." Dr. Shange said that South Africa had internalized oppressive racist reasoning such as colorism, where lighter skin tones were perceived as better. I have something to say about that. We'll come back to that. After apartheid ended in 1994, the government-led ANC welcomed African migrants and asylum seekers to the country in part to aid its regeneration and reintegration into the continent after years of isolation. But with many South Africans struggling financially, foreigners became the target for some frustrated by their situation. Zimbabweans, Nigerians, and Somalis, among others, have been accused of taking opportunities and resources away from South Africans. There's a perception of outsiders as competitors for scarce jobs, resources, living spaces, and services. Michael Morris, head of South African Institute of Race Relations, says. He said the growing number of Africans succeeding in South Africa could easily trigger resentment and violence, and this climate of hostility has occasionally erupted into attacks. South Africa, in fact, experiences worst outbreaks of violence among mostly African foreigners in 2008, when more than 60 people died. There are black South Africans who will argue that Africans from elsewhere in the continent don't belong in South Africa. More than a decade ago, Ms. Naimuli felt this animosity acutely when her father was arrested. My father is a kind-hearted, gentle soul in the entire universe, but he was treated like a criminal just because he looked like a foreigner. But he was black, but he looked different from a South African black. Her family had often tiptoed around the xenophobia they faced, but it bubbled up during last year's Miss South Africa, and it was a chance for them to address the issue directly. And for her, it was it was part of a healing process. Now, Miss Adesina sees the same level of abuse Miss Adesina is going through, and her heart goes out. She's not a trending topic. She's a human being. She's a young woman getting bullied online. It's wrong, hurtful, and so dangerous. But she emphasized that xenophobes are a small minority, and there are many South Africans who call for unity. In fact, Julius Malema, who's the leader of the opposition Economic Freedom Fighters Party, defended Miss Adesina last week. He said, "Why do people want to say she's from Nigeria or Mozambique? She was born here." Next Saturday, Miss Additional will get her chance to take the stage, but it's not clear if she'll tackle haters head on. Okay, what we're going to do is going to play a song. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about this because we have a lot to talk about around this topic. So this is In the Morning Light by Onyeka Onwenu. Enjoy, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Enjoy.
Seem to have lost my way, never see another day, never be under night of dreams of flowing rivers, dreams of love and roses, dreams of land and the sea. Around at empty faces, smiling at empty places, thinking, should I go or should I stay? Don't know what I lost, don't know what I found, don't know anything anymore. Someone show me the way. Tell me it's gonna be alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh,
Onyeka's more soulful songs. Right, we are basically in part 2 of the show, but we're going to talk about what we're talking about in part 1. So welcome back to Vivi's African News Magazine show on Jambo Radio. We're in hour 2. And just before we went for the break, we were talking about Chidinma Additional Onwe, South African Miss South Africa finalist of Nigerian descent, and all the online hate, threats, abuse she has been subjected to once the news broke that she was a finalist for Miss South Africa. Let's start first. Baron, is she not one of the most beautiful people you've ever seen in your life to start with?
She is.
Stunning. Please
Yeah.
put one of her pictures on screen if you can. Stunning. Stunning. They should be so lucky. They should be so lucky to have somebody like this representing. She's not even Miss South Africa, for crying out loud. She is a finalist. It's not good enough. So what, when you heard what was going on, what did you think, Aaron?
So I was disappointed, honestly, because what's okay. So the only thing she's done wrong is to be born
To be alive.
by Nigerian father and mother from Mozambique.
Her mother's
Or
family is from
family,
Mozambique.
Yeah, from Mozambique. So that's all she's done wrong so far.
Yeah. So, with yourself, I'm going to talk in broad terms here, and I hope, please, I'm going to generalize a lot, but please, I know everybody's not like this, but I'm talking anecdotally based on all the xenophobic attacks that have happened in the past and the comments I've seen online. So if I feel like I'm generalizing all of South Africa, I am not. Please forgive me in advance. What I've seen in general over the last 10, 15 years of being on the internet and hearing the news and all of that, all the xenophobic, it's South Africans like to gatekeep. Black South Africans, they gatekeep South Africa. Okay, there are a lot of Mozambicans in South Africa, Zimbabweans in South Africa who've made their lives there, and for some reason, Nigerians as well in the last 10, 15 years, and for some reason, Black South Africans feel very cagey about it. I don't know if they think their culture is going to be wiped away. It's not possible to wipe away their culture. I think you welcome people in, and they join your culture. That's how it goes. They join you. They become part of you. They might speak their language at home or cook some food from their own culture. But as time goes by, they become part of you. And you should take the best of those people and make them a part of you. That's how immigration goes round the whole world. Why is South Africans look at other black people and you say, oh, you have an East African forehead, you have a Nigerian head. I saw a South African post 3 different Igbo men and say, look at these heads. This is what our kids are going to be looking like in a few years because our sisters don't want to leave these men alone. I'm like, why would you even say something like that? First of all, I think a lot of it, the professor at the Free University hit it right on the head. It's about fear. It's about being threatened. It's about economics and financial part of things. So when these immigrants come in, they work hard. They start businesses. Some of them are doctors who work in the local hospitals. Some of them are business people, and they struggle. And then they tap into the South African dream, the economic success. And you see your fellow black people having nice houses, nice cars, doing well. And you look at your own situation, I'm not doing well, okay? Because I never see these xenophobic riots and all of these killings and all of that. I never see middle class South Africans, black South Africans part of it. I never really see them. I always see the people who are like maybe a bit less privileged, who are the ones doing all the attacks and all of that. Because I think they feel like, how can a foreigner come in and do better than me? It's a double-edged sword being an immigrant. If you come into a country and you're not doing well, you're looked down on. Yeah. Because, you're taking our resources, we're the ones feeding you, and you're not contributing anything, and you're this, you're useless, and that, and you're coming in to scrounge. If you come into the country and you're doing well, who do you think you are? Yeah. You come to our country and you're doing well. So it's like you can't win. So
taking our jobs.
Taking our jobs. But what jobs? Are you a doctor? Yeah. Like the people who are coming and taking our jobs, are they doctors? Are they, what jobs are they taking? Are you a business person and the Nigerian person's business has put you out of the market, So this jealousy now boils up. But the thing is that South Africans have a history, God please forgive me for generalizing, of the violence, Unfortunately, because of what happened during apartheid, there's violence there. Okay, which is not just words. Most people just talk about immigrants by words. Oh, these immigrants are doing this, they're coming in, they're taking our jobs, It's mostly rhetoric, but South Africans put their money where their mouth is when the things overflow and you have these xenophobic attacks. Once again, I'm not talking about all South Africans, but we have seen these xenophobic attacks where people actually lose their lives, get burned, their businesses are burnt down, the people themselves are killed. Now, are there bad actors among the foreigners in South Africa? Yes. Yeah. Of course there are. There are people who are drug dealers, there are people who are like probably the criminal element. But is that the majority of people? No. Another aspect is, I think, from the Nigerian side, I know how Nigerian men behave when they date or they marry, foreign women in general. They're women, because Nigerian women have kind of like made being taken care of a part of the dating experience. And Nigerian men are used to taking care, quote unquote, of a woman when dating her. That's financially or whatever. So you take her out, you buy her things, you keep her, upkeep her. I don't think South African men have that same mentality when it comes to women, buying for your friends and, taking you out to dinner and paying your rent or paying your bills or whatever. I don't think they have that same mentality. So when Nigerian men set up their lives there and they start dating South African women, I'm sure they lavish them with this, different kind of dating experience where they take care of them financially, or I'll buy drinks for all your friends, I'll do this, I'll do that, you want to go do your hair, pay some money and do this, and then when these women start dating this men, number one, most of the men on ground in any country don't really like foreign men coming in and quote unquote dating their women. And then secondly, those men who are dating their women are doing things that they are not doing, and the women don't go back. Once you date a foreigner, you don't go back to dating your own self. That could breed resentment. I can see where I'm trying to be reasonable here. I can see where that could breed resentment. But then to take that out and to kill people and to burn their businesses and to talk down on them, I don't think that's fair. But the comments I've seen online in the last 2 weeks about Chidima have been, they haven't even crossed the line. The line is back. They've gone so far beyond what is decent that it's unbelievable.
I mean, some of the things are not even true. They've been reported that some of the things are false. And again, these people have white South Africans in parliament.
Oh yeah.
So why don't you?
Oh yeah.
Keep the same standards for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Why is that? Oh yeah.
There's even a Chinese South African in parliament right now, but it's this whole thing of my fellow black person is doing well. They're not one of us, and also they think South Africa is paradise. South Africa is their South Africa, which is great. It's good you built a country, but how did your country get built?
Yep.
These things that are available in your country that you think, or other Africans are coming to take part of it or spoil it or try to steal some of it. These things that are available were built at a time where you had no access to it.
Yeah.
Okay? The economy and the businesses and the infrastructure and all the things that are being gate-kept today, up until 1994, you were not allowed to participate in these things. Okay, now you are. So yes, your country is doing well, and economically, I guess they have infrastructure, they have nice things, but you want to gatekeep other black people. When apartheid was on, who was helping you? Nigeria, number one. South Africans should not have anything bad to say about Nigeria at all. In the first instant, if you really want to take it back, because who was taking in exiles? Who was leading the wave for freedom in South Africa on the continent? Which country? Nigeria. Which country took in the most South African exiles? Which country had concerts and what didn't we have in the 80s? Free Mandela, music, concerts, movements, political. I used our political power to block. We stopped all Africans attending a certain Olympics because South Africa was going to attend, and we said if South Africa is attending and they're still doing apartheid, we're not going. And because the Nigerian president said we're not going, all other African countries said we're not going, and then they banned South Africa from going. That's how much we supported South Africa, and now they're turning around and saying they hate other black Africans. I'm not saying every South African. I'm really truly hoping it's a minority.
Yeah, well, you could say it's a minority, but that's a very loud minority.
Very loud.
And the things they say,
the words they use are just, I think, first of all, I've never been to South Africa, but Brian, how many stories of South Africa have we done on this show?
Yeah, we've done a lot of shows, yeah.
Travel, history. I'm always talking about them. I love South Africa. I feel a kindredness. I've never been there. Love the music. Love the way they sing. Love their history. I love South Africans. I love South Africa. I feel this kindredness to them. The way they're very similar. Africans, we have this thread between us. We have some things that are very similar. So it's almost like a distant cousin. They're not your sister, they're not your twin, but you recognize traits in them. They're like your cousin. That's how I feel about South Africa. Okay, and then to think, I see people online. You think maybe they're reasonable, and then you start hearing the filth, the horrible things that they're talking about other Africans. especially Nigerians. Like, what? Why would you say that? And this girl, now let's bring it back to modern day immigration, okay? Baron, if you're born in America, what are you?
You're American.
If your parents are not from America, but you were born in America, please, what are you?
You're an American.
If now she has one parent who's out there actually South African, and she was born in South Africa, and she was raised in Soweto, and she speaks the local language, what more do you want? If you're born there and one parent is from there, what? So the blood in her, she should remove the blood. Is it a blood thing? Is it a DNA thing? What do they want from her? To remove her blood? She should even be proud. Look at people who are like Greek American, Italian American, French American, Nigerian American. They come out and proudly say, I am American, but I am Nigerian, of Nigerian descent. They actually use that in front, not at the back, not hiding it. In South Africa, you have to hide it and prove you're South African. I think foreigners, immigrants, or people who have settled, who are of different African, backgrounds, who are settled in South Africa, need to stop the nonsense. They need to just stop. They need to draw the line, because they're not going to like you. They're not going to like you whether or not you prove you're South African and you can speak the language, and if they find out you're South African, they're not going to like you anyway. So you might as well just live your life. Come out with it in the front and say, I'm Nigerian South African, deal with it. I'm Ugandan South African, I'm Zimbabwean South African, deal with it. Oh yeah, what now? What? Because if you're hiding it, they don't like you anyway. They're looking at you, you're darker, you're lighter, you're this, your forehead is this, you're that. Look at this beautiful girl. Like, they should be so lucky to have somebody like that represent them. There are like three white South African girls who are finalists as well.
And if you look, even in the Olympics, if you look at some of the teams, they are white South Africans. They're not saying, oh yeah.
No, they don't care about that.
They represent us.
And you know the history of that. You know how that came to be. I don't say those are not South Africans. They are South Africans. They're people that have been there for, at this point, I think 200 years. So yeah, they came in sneaky. The way they came into South Africa was sneaky, but they've lived, generations have passed, and they're South African now, white or black or whatever. Now people are coming in. Where I'm from, sorry, excuse me, I'm from Abonima. In Abonima, we speak Calabari, and we're Abonima. We know where our compounds are, where we're from. But we have people who live in Abonima, because it's quite metropolitan for that part of the country, who are Hausa, who are Ibibio, who are Igbo, who have lived in Abonima family-wise generations. You go into their compound and they're speaking Ibibio in the compound. So the kids are born and raised in Abonima, but speak Ibibio because their parents have spoken it to them since they were born, right? They don't live in Akwa Ibom. But they also speak Calabari, because when they come out of the compound, they have to interact with everybody. They speak Calabari, and then they speak English because of school. Okay, so where are you from? I'm from Akwa Ibom, because in Nigeria we always claim where we're from. But where were you born and raised? So where do they feel the most comfortable? Abonima. So on and so forth. People come to a place, yes, you keep your original culture, but as the time goes by, what happens? You meld into the new culture. You have children, they have children, they have children. These South Africans, black ones, who are Xhosa and Zulu and Sotho, they came from Middle Africa, Central Africa, hundreds of years ago. We're all Bantu people. They came, they migrated and set up life. The San were there already. So only the San can say they are the original South Africans. Everybody else came from somewhere else. We all migrated from somewhere else and then settled, and then hundreds of years have passed, maybe thousands of years have passed, and then we're from there. But how far back are we taking this thing? As long as the people who are coming to your country are contributing properly. Yeah, the criminal element, yes, no way. The criminal element among them, the drug dealers, whatever, yes. But to generalize everyone and say, oh, they're still in your jobs. If you're a doctor and a Nigerian doctor took your job, put your hand up, okay? But if you're not a doctor and you're complaining that the Nigerian doctor is taking our jobs, but you're like a laborer in the... Stop it. And if your Nigerian guys are dating your women, they're treating them well, you too, step up and start...
You see, that's also another angle. So they are coming and taking our women.
Our women.
Meanwhile, some of the girls, so once you are with a Nigerian man, so now you are with the enemy. That's how you treat them. You're with the enemy.
And first of all, the women don't belong to you. Women belong to themselves.
Yeah.
It's like same thing, you know, people who are dating, black men dating white women here, some of the right wingers are taking our women, what? The women belong to themselves. They don't belong to you. Anyways, people who protect their women, they're like that. A lot of other people don't protect their women, so I don't even mind that part. Anyway, I say all this to say, it's just South Africa is such a wonderful country, beautiful beyond belief. You know, gorgeous people, gorgeous cultures, love them to death. But if you scratch the surface just a little bit, this thing is there. And they're going to have to address it, because honestly, I thought one or two people would say horrible things and then most South Africans would descend on them and say, how dare you, don't say that. Da, da, da. It was the opposite.
Yeah.
Apparently it was the opposite.
So you see one person come and make it maybe sense, and then they're all...
Yes. One person will say, oh no, guys, she's South African, she's out. And then they'll descend on that person and say, how dare you, if you like a Nigerian so much, move to Nigeria. Da, da. And then also kind of jollof people, call names, jollof people, that.
If it's a lady, Jolofina.
Jolofina.
So that as well.
Wow. If you swap this and you bring it to the West, this is racism, pure. Everything they're saying, the N-word, it could be like the N-word version. It could be like the, you know, blacks are more criminal-minded, blacks are more violent, all the same rhetoric. You just have to swap the terms, and it's exactly the same type of rhetoric as pure racism in the West. And they're doing it to their fellow Africans.
And before when you say, oh, it's xenophobic, they'll be like, but now they're like,
they're proudly.
Like,
I'm
wherever.
xenophobic.
Yes.
We're proud. And they're saying we are. You don't speak for all South Africans. I saw someone say we are proudly xenophobic. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't malign your entire country. Say you are xenophobic. I think that in Nigeria we're so welcoming. I didn't say we're not welcoming. We are. Do you know how we treat foreigners? We treat foreigners better than we treat our people. You know, we treat foreigners better than we treat our. If once we hear someone is from another place, you're like, I know so person. Or da, 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 da. Look at the Indian community in Lagos, living their lives like it's golden. Keeping Diwali, their cultures, their traditions. They keep everything, and they're living in Lagos.
Yeah.
Okay, the Italians, the French, other Africans who are coming in. We have our, UN, our refugee service, the people who are coming in from wars and areas. We put them in housing. Nigerians love foreigners. Tell us about your people. Tell us about yourself. We might make fun of you. Don't get us wrong. We will make fun of you. Maybe the way you talk, Ghanaian, 17, 18. We might make fun of you, but we will not hurt you. Let me say it again. We might make fun of you, but we will not hurt you. We will welcome you. We want to know about your things. We will vet you. Set up your business. That South African guy's shop. Look at this. Ukrainian people who have come after the war, they set up businesses. Are we crying up Ukrainians coming to set up businesses? All sorts of things. But South Africans gatekeep, like they think they have the best country. Maybe they do. I've
not been there before, so
it looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. But remember, those things they have now, they didn't have access. A certain demographic did not have access to those things until the last 30 or so years. They were locked out of it themselves in their own land. And who stood up for them during those times? But now,
Nigerians,
thank you very much. Thank you. Nigerians, just live your life. Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Ugandans, if you want to move to South Africa and you have something to contribute to that society, live your life. And if you want to keep your culture, keep your culture. Say, I am Nigerian, South African. I'm Ugandan, South African. I'm, Zimbabwean, South African. Say it with pride, because if you try to hide it, they're not going to like you anyway. So just say it with pride.
And I'm thinking all these will discourage people from moving to South Africa.
Honestly, who wants to get killed?
Yeah.
Look at how the last time we had to send a plane to get those people out because they're being killed. We had to send a plane, and kids were landing in Nigeria, never lived in Nigeria one day. Teenagers, 16, 17, have never been to Nigeria. Now they have started a new life in Nigeria. Meanwhile, if you hear the accents, completely South African. They're from South Africa, live there, and now they have started a new life in Nigeria because South Africans don't know how to act. My dear South African brothers and sisters, I love you. Please don't take this the wrong way. It's just, if you're not one of those who are xenophobic, please talk to your people. We all want to just live together. Yes, if there are criminal elements, yes, we don't support that. But regular people living their lives trying to make their way, who are born there, raised there, please allow them breathe. Allow them breathe. And Saturday, I'm watching them in South Africa. I'm going to find it. I'm going to watch. I'm going to cheer on Chidima. Chidima, just be strong. You're beautiful. So her father shouldn't have named her Chidima. Should have named her something else to hide her. They would have still found out anyway.
Yes, surname still.
They would have found out. So please, just be strong. You are gorgeous. Be strong. You're going to be all right. South Africans. All right, guys. If you have anything to add to that, please let us know. Because it's a big, big, big topic. And have you ever, suffered xenophobia? Have you ever, been a subject of xenophobia or anything like that? Let us know. And if you want to talk about it, it's 0141-530-2787. Do you think other black Africans owe it to others to treat them with decency and respect, or do you think xenophobia is ever warranted? Let us know. While we're waiting for that, here is the classic choices / wait for me by Yinka Owenu and Sunny Ade. We'll see you soon. That was Choices / Wait for Me by King Sunny Ade and Oyinka Owenu. Remember when that song came out, I was like, the nerve of these two. The nerve of them talk about Baron, The nerve of Saniari talking about to be talking about wait for me. Sir, stop. I mean, right message, wrong message. I'm like, please. I was a kid, and even as a child, I was like, really? I think I was a teenager. I was like, not you with your 3,000 children. How many women? Talking about family planning and choices. Onyeka was keeping things on the down low, so we didn't know her story that much. But I knew Sonia. I knew something was wrong with Sonia Adi singing "Wait for Me." But it was a beautiful song regardless.
Interesting.
Right message, like I said, just absolutely wrong message. No offense. It's a beautiful song. Okay. We're gonna have a fun time now because we're gonna be talking about the people, the African stars. You know what? Let's rewind. Let's talk about this. Is time for African Spotlight, okay? And every week we talk about we focus on a good news story, an interesting story from the diaspora, or someone doing amazing things in the community. And this week we are shining our spotlight over the channel onto the city of Paris, where the 2024 Olympics are being held, okay? We're talking about African competitors at the games, those to look out for, those doing great, all of it. So let's do this, okay? Are you watching anybody, Aaron?
No, sadly.
What? Oh my God. What are you talking about? You don't follow athletics or anything like that?
So I've not really followed the Olympics. Just basically it's been highlights.
Okay, what highlights have you seen that you like?
Highlights that I like.
Who won the 100 meters yesterday?
Nigerian.
I'm sure. 100 meters. It's not our ministry yet.
But I know the Nigerian team won in the first African team to get to the semis in
quarterfinals, actually.
Yeah.
In the basketball?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that as well. Okay. So, first of all, we're going to highlight a few people and then we'll talk about, what's been going on in Paris. So, number one, Algerian teenager Kaliam Neymar conjured up the performance of her life to become the first African to win an Olympic gymnastics medal with gold on the uneven bars yesterday. Can I have a drum roll, please? Woo! An African win a gymnastic gold medal. Love it. The 17-year-old French-born athlete took the title ahead of China's Xiu Shishan and American Sunisa Lee, snatching bronze. And the defending champion Nina Darwell of Belgium finished fourth. Can you imagine being the defending champion and finishing fourth? That must be very annoying. So she said, "I'm so shocked. It's a dream of all my life. I can't believe it's happened. I'm speechless. It was my ultimate dream. Years of hard work, details. I'm honored to have been able to win this medal. First of all, for me and for Algeria as well." Okay. Then, moving on, Nigeria has reached a place no other African country in men or women's basketball has ever gone before, the quarterfinals of the Olympics. Can I have another drum roll, please? All right, so the Nigerian women's basketball team has reached the quarterfinals. Kalu scored 21 points and Nigeria secured a spot in the elimination round in Paris by downing Canada 79-70 yesterday for its second win of the Olympics. It means a lot, not just to us as a team, but to the entire world of Africa. It only gets harder from here. And when the final buzzer sounded, the team went to mid-court to start celebrating with an assistant coach using her phone to record the moment. So they're going to be playing, they're going to be moving on, and we're going to be keeping on top of them. So well done to the ladies. Now, yesterday was awesome because Nigerians Favour Ofili had qualified for the semi-finals of the 200 meters at the 2020 Olympics. The 21-year-old sprinter clocked 22.24 seconds to finish first in her heat, and the only person who ran faster than her in any of the heats was, of course, Gabby Thomas of the US, who is the forerunner for the race. But the fact that Favour got not just first in her own heats, but second overall in all the heats, she's someone to look out for. I think today is the semi-final and final for the women's 200. Today or tomorrow? I think it's today. Can I tell you a secret? Did you know something about Favour?
No.
Do you know she was meant to run the 100 and the 200? Got to Paris, did the whole thing, the whole opening ceremonies. Yeah. Went to sign up, and your people had not registered her for the 100 meters.
Yeah, saw that as well.
Unbelievable. So who knows what she might have, if she could do this in 200, who knows what she might have done in the 100. She might have medaled. She could have, I know Sha'Carri was a forerunner. I know Julian is a beast. I know, but all the Jamaicans dropped out. Sharika is not there. Shelian is not there. Ellen Somasera is not there. So it was a field open. It was an open field for bronze, honestly. If Favour had run, she might have done well in her heats, her semi-finals, and she could have medaled. She could have medaled. Anyway, we'll support her tonight. I mean, paperwork. Really? Paperwork.
Yeah, really, someone should get punished for this because someone's fault.
Yes.
So you didn't do your job properly, which led to this big mistake.
Huge. And the thing is, another one of the discus throwers, she the same thing happened to her last Olympics. She wasn't registered. Do you know what she did? She just switched back to American citizenship, and now she's competing for America, and she's in the finals now. She was like, you know what? I'm trying to do the best for my home nation. But Nigeria doesn't want me to be great, so I'm going back to America. And she went boom. One throw put her in the finals. Not, you know how they have to throw many times.
Yeah.
Like one throw was so good, she was in the finals, and that's somebody we Nigerians could have had for ourselves. Okay. Anyway, moving on. We're looking at you, Favour. We're going to be rooting for you. I think it's tonight. We're going to root for you tonight. Faith Kipyegon. Oh my God, she's incredible. And you know what I love about Faith? She runs. She's a mother, so she has the stretch marks on her stomach, and she doesn't hide it. So when she runs and she wins, and she's like, and you see all the stretch marks, and you're like, oh my God. So with 2 world titles won and 4 world records set in the past 13 months, Kipyegon is in sparkling form heading to Paris. The 30-year-old is aiming to secure her 3rd successive gold in the women's 1500. No African athlete has ever won gold in the same event 3 times in a row. That's Faith in the middle right there. If you guys are watching at home and there are 3 pictures on your screen, that's Faith in the middle. She lowered her 1500 world record at the Diamond League meeting in France last month, and she'll be appearing in the 5000 at this Olympics as well. So after winning both titles at the World Championship last year, can she repeat the feat and cement her position on the track as queen of the track? Yes, she can. I think she can. So she's going to be, the heats were on Friday, but tonight is the 5,000 meters final. And Thursday, that's her sweet spot. The 1,500 meters is this Thursday, the semis. And then Saturday will be the final. So, woo! Faith is going to do it again. I think last year when she won, I put her picture on my Facebook and my Instagram, and I was like, she's so cool. And the thing is, I've been watching the commentary. Oh my God. The commentary on this Olympics so British centered. It's always British centered, but it's ridiculous. Yesterday, Mary Mora was running, won her race. The British girl came fourth. Mary Mora of Kenya won the race, and they were like, "Oh, she's not running, the way she usually runs. Look at how tired she is." But hats off to Gemma. I'm like, Gemma didn't even qualify. Like, is this opposite world? So the person who won, she won, but she's done better in the past. Look at how tired she is. Hats off to Gemma though, hanging in with the pros. I'm like, Gemma did not qualify. Why are we talking about Gemma?
Hanging with the pros. She's not a pro herself.
Okay. Anyway, let's see Bogo, the first man from Botswana to break the 10-second barrier over the 100 meters. He announced himself on the senior stage last year when he picked up 2 medals at the World Championships. He took silver in 100 and bronze in 200. And off the track, he's become the first African man to win 100 or 200 meters at the Games since Frankie Fredericks. He could become the first one since Frankie Fredericks in 1996. That's a long time away. So he ran yesterday. He did not medal in the 100 meters because yesterday was nuts. Okay, I talked about it. You watched the final. So Noah Lyles from the States got the gold. That's a different story altogether. Kishan Thompson from Jamaica got bronze, and Fred Curley from the States got gold. Okay, but it was a photo finish. We couldn't even tell when the race was over. We couldn't tell who won. It was that crazy. We had to wait. Everybody had, even Noah, Eric, Kishan, they all had to wait to see who won. It was crazy, and then eventually Noah won by I think 4,000th of a second.
That close.
4,000th of a second, and they all crossed the line at the same time. But Noah put his chest out. But that's enough. His head is so huge. Now that he's won, it's just going to be insufferable.
Yeah, you hear that, guys? So
He's so full of himself. It's
go
crazy.
and get your chest. Go and get some chest so that you can win some race.
Oh my God, he's something else. But Tebogo did not. I mean, it was an amazing race. Even those who came fourth or fifth, there are times.
Yeah.
There are times they might as well just put everybody on the podium and just give everybody a medal. Anyway, he gets to try again because he's going to do 200 meters. The heats are tonight, and then the finals are on Thursday. So he gets to do, another chance at the medal. So I'm sure he'll do something because Tebogo is incredible. But they have Kishan, Noah Lyles for a curl. This 200 is going to be something else. And Noah Lyles, this is his race. He only did the 100 meters because he just wanted to try. And he won the gold. The 200 is his actual race, so he's not going to give anybody any breathing space, I'm sure. But Tebogo, we are rooting for you, okay? We have Biniam Girmay, who is, of course, from Eritrea and is the first African to have done the Tour de France. And he's cycling. He cycled. He didn't win, but he finished his race in 6 hours, 26 minutes, which is incredible. This is the land race, the road race, in 6 hours, 26 minutes. And the winners were in 6 hours, 20 minutes or something. So he was not far behind them. It's a very difficult race. Yeah. Imagine racing for 6 hours. Anyway, hats off to him. The whole of Eritrea was so proud of him. Everybody's talking about him. He's so handsome. All Eritreans are all beautiful and handsome. It's great looking. First guy to do cycling for Africa. We're just so proud of him. Even if he didn't get a medal, he did great. Blessing Oborududu. Okay, Blessing Oborududu. She's a wrestler, freestyle wrestler. She's an icon in Nigeria and Africa, and she has 14 continental titles and 4 Commonwealth Game medals. Okay, she was her country's Nigeria's best performer at Tokyo 2020, and she won silver. Okay, so she already has an Olympic medal, and she's going to try it again. She's 35 years old. She's 35 years old, and she's coming back to the same weight class. And this could be her final Olympics. I'm sure it'll be her final Olympics. So she's going to be, you can watch her tonight. You can watch it tonight, and you can watch her. So tonight is the round of 16 quarters and semifinals, and tomorrow will be the finals. Okay, so if you want to watch Blessing and root her on to get a medal, tonight with the quarterfinals, semifinals tonight, and tomorrow will be the finals. Okay, wrestler. I hope she wins because, she's 35. Chances of her having another Olympics are very slim. But, at 35, she's still doing it. That's incredible. Yeah. And then we also have Fabrice Zango from Burkina Faso, and he is doing the triple jump. Okay. And he was a world champion last year in Budapest. Yes, he was. And now he's going to be coming back to try and defend that title, to get an Olympic medal this time around. He was greeted by cheering crowds from when he got back home last time, and I'm sure it'll be the same thing this time. He's also a doctor in electrical engineering, yes, and he wants to be a symbol of hope to others in his West African country of Burkina Faso. So you can catch him on Wednesday this week doing the triple jump, and on Friday for the finals. Okay, he's going to try to qualify on Wednesday and then actually go for a medal on Friday. Okay, so that's Fabrice from Burkina Faso, rooting for you. And finally, we have Fatima Zara El Mouni. She's from Morocco, and guess what she's going to be doing? My husband says it's not a sport. Breakdancing. Love it. Yes, it's a sport. What do you mean? Why are you laughing? It's a sport, okay? Better known as B-Girl El Mouni, the Moroccan made history by becoming the first ever qualifier for the Olympic breakdancing breaking. They call it breaking. It's breakdancing, but breaking competition, okay? The sport was introduced for Paris this time. And it's looking because the International Olympic Committee wants to appeal to a younger audience, the younger generation, to bring in breaking. And the 24-year-old got into breaking on the streets of Rabat, although her first appearance were not supportive of her newfound passion. The dancers will compete in a series of one-on-one battles, taking it in turns to show their moves and receiving marks for technique, variety, execution, musicality, and originality. Place de la Concorde, a major public square at the end of the Paris' most famous street, Champs-Élysées, could witness the African champion make Olympic history. Okay, she's going to be doing her thing on Friday the 9th. Okay, Baron, I can hear you from there. scoffing and laughing that breaking is not a real sport. I think breaking is a real sport, and if they want to listen, if ice dancing, I watched the Winter Olympics, I like figure skating, but they also have ice dancing, okay, which is figure skating but with more musicality to it and all of that. If that's a sport, then breaking is a sport. Breaking is not easy. What do you think?
It's not easy, but what's going to be the criteria to
They said it. They told the
technique,
variety,
originality.
execution, musicality, and originality.
Yeah. So how?
They have judges. They have judges. They can listen. You're putting your neck at risk. Have you seen breaking? All the things they do and they turn around like that. Listen, it's not easy. They're on the floor most of the time, just spinning around. Listen, I'm going to watch it. Friday the 9th. If you guys want to watch Fatima B-Girl Mernay do her thing, then please tune in on Friday, because, it's the first time ever it's been introduced to the Olympics. And it's going to be a great competition. I think for the young people, why not? I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I keep with the youth. All right, guys, so that's our update. There's lots of other, we could sit here talking about Olympics all day. We talk about the Nigerian basketball team. We talk about, Talu just killing it. Talu is just killing it. I think she missed out on a medal for the 100, but she'll be back for the 200. Okay, Talu is just, and all the Africans who are running for Italy, England,
France,
Bahrain. You see their names and their faces, you're like, sister, brother, you belong to us. But it's okay if your country doesn't treat you right. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. If your country is not doing you right, please go to Bahrain. Let them throw money at you. It's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Just as long as you don't claim you're not, originally African, and that's good. All right, question for the week. Do we need to start taking competitive athletics and sport other than football a bit more seriously in Africa, as the Caribbean and the Americas do? Because you see the lineup at the front, at the blocks. 2 Americans, 2 Jamaicans, 2 St. Kitts, a couple of Africans, and then they start the race, and those guys are way ahead. Why? Meanwhile, in our countries, we're the best, right? Yeah. What are they training? We have the same kind of genetics, DNA. We don't have the same experiences, but we do have the same. If you trace it up the way, we're very similar genetically. Okay, things may have changed over the centuries, but we all come from the same root. Yeah. So why are they doing so much better than us when it comes to? Is it their country training them properly? Is it their country putting money into this sports? Is it coaching? Is it opportunities? Because some of these countries, you can't say, it's because of poverty or lack of facilities. If some of the Jamaican and Caribbean training grounds, they look very similar to our own training grounds. But they have coaches. The Americans, you see, with high tech and all that stuff. But if you go back to Jamaica, they're really grassroots. The trainings are grassroots, but then they go on the world stage and they're incredible. So it's not just only about finances and money and all that. What are they doing that is different from what we Africans are doing? Why are we not breaking those barriers? And why do we frustrate people like Favor, who do the work and have the talent and have done the training, and then they come and then we mess them up with bureaucratic mistakes? So, question is, do we need to start taking competitive athletics and sports other than football, once again, more seriously in Africa? Okay, the way the Americans and the Caribbeans do. Byron, I'm going to get a chance to answer that question real quick before we go for a break.
Yes, we should. We should.
Pretty simple.
Put a lot more. Find talent, because it's
starting to,
so the first thing is finding talent. So just go in, set up these centers, find the talent, and then you can groom them from when they are young to when they are old enough to compete. Yeah,
and then also like really proper. I think maybe our training techniques need to change.
Yeah,
or because there's a disconnect there. And what do you think about the Nigerians on the basketball team who are almost all American? You see that? Yeah. They're American, but it's time to compete, and they choose Nigeria because they have a better chance.
Yeah.
That's what immigration is about. Finding your best way, where it's best. If your home country is best, great. If another country is best, great, but you represent your home country. Or the other way around, you live in one place but represent another, or you live in another place and come home to do it. It all depends on where, as long as you're contributing. Why the division, Why the division? Half of those girls, I think everybody in the American team is American. On the Nigerian team is American, Nigerian American. But then they're representing Nigeria. Why not? You know? Anyway, so that's the question. Do we need to start taking competitive athletics and sport other than football a bit more seriously in Africa? Do we need to change our training techniques? What do we need to do? If you have any opinions at all, do not hesitate to call the number. I have called it many, many times. Just call us or make a comment on the socials and we will read you in. Number, of course, is 0141 530 2787. 0141 530 2787. If you're calling from abroad, it's +44 141 530 2787. Okay, we have the best history topic today. I'm in love with this topic. I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to tell you about it when we come back. But hint, Sari, Diwali, that doesn't sound very African, but it is. So we'll come back and we'll do that. But right before that, here is Dancing in the Sun by Onyeka Onwenu. See you soon.
Born a mystery and masquerade. Controversy is everybody's name. People asking just who you are as you move by the stars and you live by the day, dancing in the sun. Now, you know what I'm talking about, dancing in the sun. Baby, I'm a dancer, so far away. In our bones there's a history, yeah. In our blood there's a generation line. How can you start to understand that we are who we were for all times? Dancers in the sun, mama, you're a dancer, just dancing away, dancing in the sun. Baby, I'm a dancer, so far away, dancing in the sun. Dancing in the sun. Oh, I went, hey. Oh, I went, hey. Gwen, hey. Gwen, hey. Oh, I went, hey. Gwen, hey. Where's my name? Oh, baby.
Okay. We are back. Okay, I am super excited. Byron, better get ready. Get ready, Byron. We have a great topic for history today. So let me lay it out. So today we're going to be learning about something a bit different. But before that, I'm going to say it's time for our favorite segment of the show, which is a moment in African history. I love it. Right. It's still African history, but via Asia. Hence, I gave you Sari and Diwali. So we're going to be talking about the history of the Indian community in Africa, how they came to be, who they are, where they are, and all things Indian African. Okay? We're going to let our friends at Let's Go, again, it's gonna help us with a great video, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna wrap it all around because it involves our favorite second favorite country ever. Okay, you'll find out what it is. But anyway, our friends at Let's Go are gonna have put together a great video. Let's watch it and we'll come back and talk about it. So let's go.
Have you ever wondered about the Indian connection across Africa? From the bustling streets of Johannesburg to the serene beaches of Mauritius, Indians have played a significant role in shaping the continent's history and culture. In this video, we'll unravel the story of their present-day contributions and experiences. So let's go. As of 2021, Africa houses over 3 million people of Indian origin. That's how many of Indian descent call Africa home, making it the second largest Indian diaspora after China. Some members of the Indian race scattered across the African continent consist of both non-resident Indians, NRIs, who emigrated directly from India, and persons of Indian origin, PIOs, whose families have migrated generations ago, but they hold citizenship in their African homeland. The fascinating thing is how these communities hold on to their Indian heritage, because even to date, they still celebrate traditional festivals like Diwali, share their motherland's cultural beliefs, and feel a deep connection to both worlds. This sense of Indian identity is strongest in Mauritius, where over 60% of the population is of Indian descent. Likewise, South Africa, Reunion, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda are some of the countries that boast significant Indian populations. Interestingly, on mainland Africa, among the African countries with the most people of Indian descent, South Africa leads the pack with 2.5%, followed by Botswana with 0.66%, Kenya with 0.3%, Tanzania 0.28%, Mozambique 0.13%, and Zimbabwe 0.01%. The large Indian population dispersed across Africa has had a profound impact on the continent. They're not just significant consumers of resources, but also key figures who have shaped investment and enriched Africa's history. Africa's rich resources are a big attraction for India. South Africa's gold and diamonds, Uganda's oil, Tanzania's minerals, and so on are all prime targets for Indian investment. But this economic enjoyment isn't just one-sided. While India pumps money into Africa's resources, billions flow back the other way. The reason for this? The Indian Prime Minister sees places where Indians are resident as places where they can make great investment, and also indirectly impact the lives of their Indian race positively in those countries. So which countries have the most Indians? How did they come to be? And what are the key impacts they've had on these demographics? South Africa. Residents of South Africa with Indian roots are over 1 million, which is the largest in Africa, with Durban City being home to the largest concentration of Indians. The country is also the heart of Indian influence, and you can almost feel their presence in the architecture, history, religion, and so many other areas like the infamous curries and iconic bunny chow. However, it's important to point out that the story of Indian roots in South Africa starts way back in the 1600s, when some Indians came as slaves. Over time, they blended into local communities. Then in the 1800s, following the abolishment of slavery, two new groups arrived: indentured workers brought to work on farms, and free Indians who saw business opportunities in Africa. Many of these workers decided to stay after their contracts ended, which now led to them becoming the ancestors of most Indians in South Africa today. The indentured workers weren't just bringing muscle to South Africa in the 1800s, they also brought a whole new culture and religion. Since they hailed from Muslim-populated regions of western and southern India, they sparked a flame of Islam in South Africa. And their efforts weren't in vain, because today South Africa boasts a thriving Muslim community, particularly in Natal and the Western Cape. But Islam wasn't the only Indian religion to take root in South Africa. A vibrant segment of the Indian diaspora brought their unique faith, centered around one god and 10 gurus. This group is known as the Sikhs. But things got tough for them during apartheid, with the creation of unfair laws against Indians and other people of colour. However, this also brought the oppressed together, because they were fueled by a shared fight against injustice. This struggle gave birth to organisations like the Natal Indian Congress, co-founded by Mahatma Gandhi himself, which emerged in South Africa to lead the fight for equality. These cross-racial alliances became the foundation for a future South Africa united in freedom. Even with the arrival of new immigrants after apartheid's fall, The legacy of this shared struggle continues to define the identity of South Africans with Indian roots. Additionally, the cultural exchange between South Africans of Indian descent and the broader population has been mutually beneficial. It's actively enriching South Africa's social fabric, keeping Indian traditions vibrant in this new home. However, South Africa is just one chapter in the story of Indian influence in Africa. While it offers a fascinating example, the narrative unfolds differently across the African continent. East Africa also saw an influx of Indians brought in to build crucial infrastructure. East Africa: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. A common misconception surrounds the arrival of Indians in East Africa, that they came as slaves. However, history reveals a different story. In the early days of colonial rule, the British brought in around 32,000 indentured labourers, primarily Sikhs from Punjab, to tackle a monumental task, building the Kenya-Uganda Railway. This ambitious project, the first of its kind, aimed to connect Kenya to Uganda by rail. It stands as the key reason why Indians first arrived in East Africa and why vibrant Indian communities persist today in cities like Nairobi, Kenya, and Kampala, Uganda. However, unlike the South African story, the majority of these workers returned to India after their contracts ended. Some died during labour, and only about 7,000 chose to stay and put down their roots. This difference highlights a crucial distinction. While South Africa's Indian population grew significantly due to indentured labourers who remained, East Africa only began to see a larger influx of free emigrants arrive later. This wave of newcomers, predominantly Hindus and Muslims from Gujarat, weren't bound by contracts. The Kenya-Uganda Railway became more than just a transportation route. It paved the way for a thriving Indian presence in East Africa. Following the railway's path, Indian communities established trading posts, forming the backbone of commerce throughout the region. This legacy continues to this day. However, East Africa's history isn't without its challenges. Ugandan dictator Idi Amin's draconian decree in 1972 forced the expulsion of Asians, including many Indians, within 90 days. This caused significant disruptions and hardship. Nevertheless, since the region's restoration, the Indian community in Uganda has demonstrated remarkable resilience. They have re-established themselves and become a crucial pillar of the Ugandan economy today. This is further strengthened by the positive relations between Uganda and India's Prime Ministers, Robina Nabanja and Narendra Modi. Another significant impact is the popularly spoken language in East Africa. Swahili is a blend of Bantu of indigenous Africa and Arabic, which is a major influence of the Islam culture the Indians brought with them. Also, since their settlements in parts of East Africa, the impact of the Indian communities have cut across so many areas, like Islamic education, creation of institutions, musical genres and dance known as batik and damals, and several other things. Today, countries such as Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania are home to thriving Indian businesses and communities, continuing a long history of cultural exchange fostered by the Indian Ocean trade boom. This boom spurred the rise of East African city-states like Mombasa and Kilwa, which still thrives as hubs of commerce and cultural exchange, attracting a diverse mix of traders and artisans till date. Let's now see how Indian communities have fared in other African nations, such as the island of Mauritius and the giants of Africa, Nigeria. Mauritius. As stated earlier, Indians make up the majority population here, a massive 60% that shapes the island's economic and political landscape. If ever there was a place other than Durban that seems like home to Indians away from their motherland, Mauritius is that place. It's one of the few places that they flourished tremendously in business, impact and influence. They're a backbone to the economy of Mauritius Island. Their rich culture has become deeply woven into the national identity, creating a unique Mauritian fusion. This dominance stems from the large-scale indentured labour system implemented by the British Empire. From 1834 to 1920, Britain transported roughly 500,000 Indian workers to Mauritius to work in sugarcane fields. Notably, these labourers primarily came from the Bihar and Uttar Pradesh regions of India, with additional groups hailing from the southern provinces. The arrival of the Indo-Mauritian population in Mauritius left a lasting mark on the island's culture. The impact is so much that Mauritius honours this legacy by celebrating the arrival of the indentured workers on the 2nd of November as a national holiday. Finally, the giants of Africa. Indians in Nigeria, West Africa. Nigeria boasts one of the largest Indian diaspora community in Africa, with over 800,000 people of Indian descent residing there. This significant presence stems from a long and rich history of trade and cultural exchange between the two nations. Throughout Nigeria's colonial period and transition to democracy, India has fostered positive relations with this West African nation. This strong bond is further evidenced by the over 100,000 thriving Indian-owned businesses operating in Nigeria today. Leveraging the established trade and cultural ties, India has introduced another successful export to Africa, Bollywood cinema. Surprisingly, Bollywood enjoys immense popularity, not just within Indian communities, but also among the broader population in West Africa, particularly in Nigeria and Ghana. This fascination has even inspired several movies, such as Namaste Wahala, within this region. But the Indian influence extends far beyond entertainment. It has demonstrably strengthened religious and cultural bonds, with some Nigerians embracing Hinduism due to the efforts of missionary groups like ISKCON. While most Nigerian Hindus reside in Lagos, dedicated centers for Hinduism can also be found in Ibadan. Further exemplifying the nature of Indian influence, organizations like the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization actively promote the teachings of Satya Sai Baba. This organization embodies India's dedication to social welfare by offering charitable services like free education and medical care. As we've seen, India's impact on West Africa, particularly Nigeria and Ghana, goes far beyond demographics. It has significantly shaped the continent's cultural tapestry, economic landscape, and even religious beliefs. In summary, beyond Africa, India's influence reaches far and wide. From trade to entertainment and labor, Indians are woven into the fabric of Africa's history, and their rich culture has helped in one way or another shape Africa in what it is today.
That's really, really beautiful. We don't have a lot of time left, but I just wanted to say the fact that they've come from such inauspicious backgrounds like indentured slavery and, indentured workers and British people bringing them to work as slaves in these African countries, and then they've built on that, and generations later they are thriving. I think there's something to be said for that. Sometimes I look at Black Americans and I go, at least my people weren't taken as slaves and I've always been a free person. But to be fair, if you went from that kind of background and you built something for yourself and you're thriving in the nation as it is today, is that not something to be commended? What do you think, Baron? Or do you think it's something to be ashamed of that your ancestors were slaves? Or do you think the fact that they were slaves and indentured workers and yet they've built something amazing for themselves today, that's to be commended? What do you think?
I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. I mean, they were slaves. That was them. It's not you. Also, I don't know, Judge. I just don't think they should really worry about what your parents or grandparents or great grandparents were back then. It shouldn't really matter now.
Well, I know how come the South African populace embraces, they know that they have this community among them who are thriving, they're doing well, they keep to themselves, they don't even mix. I mean, they mix, but among themselves. Yeah. And they marry each other, and then they do business, and they have their own communities in South Africa. And if one of them wants to go from South Africa, I'm sure there will not be any uproar about it. Sure. But let a Nigerian want to go from his. She's not even Nigerian. That's the thing. She's South African. Her dad is Nigerian, but I'm proud of them. But I know there's their problems. I know they don't really mix, which is a problem a lot of people have with some communities where they're in the country and they're part of the country, but they don't really socially, business-wise, and they don't really socially mix, They can have friends who are from that community, but you don't really see intermarriages and all that. And because over the years they've stayed Indian in Africa, they've grown up in Africa, 4 or 5 generations past, maybe more. And yet they're still 100% Indian most of the time. How does that work? Yes, you're from the continent. I would say, over the years you think that they'll be mixing, I'm sure there's some mixes, of course, because you have the coloureds of, the coloureds in South Africa and other parts of Southern Africa. But for the most part, they've kind of stayed, indigenous to each other, to their communities. But then they've thrived. I know there's a lot of problems with the local populace, some racism, some, colorism and all that, but all in all, they've built their communities on the continent and they're doing well for themselves. So it's a great history. The fact that they came from such, difficult backgrounds and have built something for themselves today on the continent and have stayed and are living there. Some of them even doing better than the locals. A lot of them, not some of them, most of them are doing great, have great businesses and all of that. I'm happy for them. It's a great history. Did you enjoy that, guys? I hope you guys enjoyed that particular slice of history. The Indian community in Africa, how they got to Africa, how they came to be, how they built themselves up, how they thrived, and how they're as African as they are, but yet still as Indian as they are. You should see Indians speaking with a Durban accent in South Africa. It's mind-boggling. Because you see a person who's completely Indian and all that, and then they open their mouth and you're like, oh my God. it's wonderful. I love it. I love all of that. I love history, and I hope you guys enjoy that as well. Guys, we have no time for our quizzes and our, proverbs and all of that today because we are completely and totally out of time. However, I will be back next week with more interesting news, politics, music, travel, everything in between. Until then, stay proudly African. It's been Bibi and Baron of the Bibi's African News Magazine Show. Thank you so much, Baron. You've been wonderful today. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.
You are listening to Jambo Radio across Scotland. This is Jambo Radio